Hello, and welcome back to Talking Green America. So, yeah, the title of this episode, it's all about the power, comes from the Darth Vader quote, "You just don't know the power of the dark side." Well, is alternative power really the dark side? Or maybe fossil fuels is the dark side because it's putting all this junk in the air and causing all these problems. Okay, well, let us not fall for the call of the dark side. Okay, yes, maybe it gives us more power, but I am of the opinion that we can change that. Okay, we can make alternative fuels into full-time, regular, normal fuels. Scotland is now 100% renewable energy sources. This is not a real mystery anymore. People are buying electric cars. Okay, this stuff works. We don't need fossil fuels all the time. So the the big deal is cost and difficulty, right? Changing from power source A to power source B, the choice of which one is not really the biggest issue. The impact on our lifestyle trying to change over from point A to point B, right? That's kind of more the issue. Well, first we have to figure out that we need to do it, right? We need to change. And how will that affect us? Well, a lot of people say we don't really need to change because look at China, they're awful. No, let's take responsibility for our part. Let's fix our stuff, okay? And in this episode, we really want to explore not just how we'll do that, but how we get motivated to do that. Let's not make excuses anymore. Let's figure out how to get incentivized to go do the right thing, right? That's the whole purpose of Talking Green America. We want to figure out how to do this without cost, maybe at a profit sometimes. Well, the other side of profit is incentive. It's not just about the money. It's about what makes us tick, what makes us want to make our toast from a different source of energy. Okay, probably at this point, not very much, right? But we can take responsibility for our junk in the air. What we've done, America's a big part of that problem, and we can make it as painless as we can. Now, in terms of our lifestyle, let's explore that a little bit. We don't need to change very much. The actual cost of fixing climate change in America does not have to be that big. It doesn't have to interfere with our lives very much either. Okay, so let's explore a little bit of that. We buy the things that we buy because they're available, somebody made them for us, and we look at it and we want it. So a lot of the problem with American consumption with like plastics, which is petroleum products, isn't really a consumer problem. It's an industry problem, right? What's the incentive for industry to make these things? They make things out of plastic because we use them when they're offered, right? There's some benefit. When you go to a restaurant and you want to take some leftovers home, the container that you take it home in could be a foam container, it could be a plastic container. Well, years ago, when you went to the Chinese restaurant, and you still can do this today, you can get a little paper box. And the paper will degrade. It's not plastic, it's just paper. Did you ever say no to taking home leftovers in a paper box? Why would you? You never even cared about it. Well, so why do restaurants use plastic all the time? Beats the heck out of me. It's not any more convenient. It doesn't cost less. If we were to say that restaurants had to use paper, the number of industries that would produce those paper products would grow, and the amount of those paper products being sold would grow exponentially. And so the cost of those units, the cost of those little boxes would go way, way, way down. Price would no longer be an issue, right? So if we simply mandate in our own minds that we want to take better care of the environment with choice B, well, okay, how do we incentivize industry to change over to paper instead of plastic. We're doing that at a lot of grocery stores now. The simple choice of paper or plastic is going to be, well, gradually weaned away to where we just have paper bags again, because those paper bags won't be a floating sea of junk the size of Texas out in the ocean, right? The paper will just disintegrate. Okay, well, the incentive for that is government mandated. We're now having the government say to grocery stores, no more plastic. Okay, well, that's an incentive. We can use government incentives, enforcement sometimes, but we don't want things to cost more. We don't want to inconvenience ourselves. All we want to do is clean our act up, right? So sometimes the incentive can be, hey guys, use paper as a government regulation. For us, for our lifestyle, is that going to matter? Probably not in the least. If people would simply figure out how to make these paper bags at the grocery store have handles that won't break off, my God, what a revolution, right? You won't be walking out of the store and having your stuff fall all over the sidewalk because the handle gave way, right? I mean, who really cares about what kind of bag they use as long as it works? Well, we don't have 100% success in that area, but we can work on that. It's a great American dream to have a paper bag at the grocery store with handles that don't break. So yeah, we can do this stuff one step at a time. Now, okay, so let's move on. So all of this stuff really can be done by incentivizing industry and incentivizing ourselves to go the right way. A lot of it is with electric cars would be, well, if an electric car was less expensive and it was better, wouldn't you buy one? Why wouldn't you buy one? Okay, well, there are issues. Sometimes when we start to talk about this stuff, trying to incentivize ourselves to do the right thing, well, we run into issues where we can't so easily do so. Like if you live in an apartment complex, having an electric car is kind of a pain in the tush because you have to have an extension cord from your apartment out to the parking lot to charge your car. Okay, well, that's the problem. It's not the electric car, right? It's not whether or not we don't have to buy gas, so the electric car is cheaper. It's better. It'll last longer. But I don't want to run an extension cord out my apartment window to 100 feet away to where I can park my car. I mean, it's just not going to work. I live in the Pacific Northwest in near Seattle. Seattle has no place to park your car. There's no such thing as a garage in Seattle, okay? Everybody parks on the street. What are you going to do? Throw an extension cord down the block? I mean, we have to figure out some solutions, right? That's the incentive to change from A to B. So we need some national things to happen for the green choices to be attractive choices, right? So we can change to paper change out for plastic, and that'll be not much of a problem. But getting some of these other problems solved, that's tough. Right now, we also use natural gas for cooking and water heating and heating our homes. Well, as we produce more electric power, which we are doing, the cost of electric appliances for our homes to do those things will stay down. As we produce less natural gas, well, the price is going to go up. And over time, we don't really have to do much to incentivize that. In other words, if natural gas gets more expensive and electricity gets cheaper, we're naturally going to be incentivized to do the right thing. Okay, we're just not going to burn as much natural gas anymore. We're going to burn more electricity to heat our house and to heat our water and so forth. As a matter of fact, electricity usage on on-demand water heaters is generally much less. You heat up the water right when you need it. It's in a small pipe. It just gets heated up when you want it. Those could be where we end up going. And if the price incentive on those gets better, more people will do that. So we don't necessarily even have to regulate a lot of this stuff. It's going to self-regulate, right? We just have to do the right things in producing power. Now, if we want to deliberately make more progress in that area, for instance, we might say, okay, we're not going to build any more gas-powered water heaters and no more gas-powered ovens after such and such a date. Well, okay, well, that is a government regulation. But if what it's doing is reinforcing the incentives that are already naturally occurring, well, people will complain a little bit and then they're going to get over it and it's not going to be a problem. It's the equivalent of saying, well, I'm going to use a paper straw instead of a plastic straw. Nobody really cares. It's only inconvenient because we have installed infrastructure today, right? The people who sell gas to you aren't going to sell as much gas. Therefore, they're going to have to charge more for it. And you're not going to want to pay for it. And at some point, when your appliances are 20 years old, you're going to go change them, right? Because the electricity is cheap and the gas is not cheap. All right, so we can set regulatory dates for things to happen, but for the most part, we're probably not going to need to. Our big deal is the transition with cars. We just don't have that worked out. They throw an extension cord out your window, that's not working really well. So things have to improve to get us going, right? We don't want to lose our American lifestyle. And honestly, we don't have to, right? We're going to have to deal with lots of stuff. We're going to have to figure out how to have truly cordless cars, and we have an episode coming for that. We're going to have to figure out incentives to change over what kind of cars we're going to buy and what cars we're going to make. And jobs. We're going to have to figure all that stuff out. Coal is going away because it's filthy. Okay, we just don't want it. It's nasty. Well, there's the incentive to a large degree. Coal is cheap. We just don't like it. And we can replace it for the same money, really, now. So why would we have a coal plant come online? It's just dumb. Well, incentives are everything, right? Tesla today is selling way more electric cars because their price has dropped like a rock. There's your incentive. People are putting solar panels on their house because they get tax breaks and it costs less in the end. Okay, incentives. You can put a solar system into your house and end up selling power back to the grid. You can make money off of your home installation of solar panels. You can say, well, I can sell power back to the power company and make money off of my system and help pay for it. So we have the right idea on some of these, right? So it's the incentives on industry to change over infrastructure like factories that might be part of the problem. Okay, well, there's in so many ways the heart of the matter, right? How do we incentivize the world, our world, to simply stop making internal combustion engines? Wow, okay. That's a discussion under cars, and we're going to have a podcast about that. Send us your questions because there's a lot of issues around maintaining our lifestyle, getting through a transition, how fast we need to force that transition to happen, and what are the incentives. Talking Green America is all about making those incentives happen in such a way that we don't have to wait a long time. We can save the world, we can save the planet, we can do it at a profit, and we can also incentivize America to do the right thing. Right? America is all about salesmanship and advertising, and if we can give people a motive, a price motive, a convenience motive, we can get things to change. It's that simple. And then we make some pretty advertising and put it on TV, put it on radio, put it on your news feed, whatever. We'll have America going out and buying the things that they should buy. It's just not that big of a problem in theory. So let's walk through some of the practicalities of getting some of this stuff done. I hope this little video gets you thinking. Send us your questions down below at the link. We're definitely going to answer things and talk it through. I'm going to do a lot of podcasting. Mash that subscribe button for me, people. And hit the alert button so you know when to come back. Share the word big time. Okay, so we're going to see you next time, right? Everyone, come back and bring your friends. And thanks again for watching.